El momento era un poco con bronca. Nadie me quiere. Fue el gran desafío de decir, bueno, si te crees que podés, anda, mostrá y volvé. Pronti? Via! Ok, here we go.
Il 18 aprile José Cura ha aperto la stagione del Teatro Colón nel ruolo principale dell'Otello di Verdi. È la sua prima parte importante sul palco del teatro lirico argentino, dal quale è stato cacciato più di 15 anni fa. La prima parola pronunciata da Otello nell'opera è esultate.
I think that today there will be two exultates at the same time. The exultate of Otello, because I'm supposed to sing it because it's written, and the exultate of Jose Cura, who is claiming for his people for the first time.
The heroic tenor is something that slightly went out of fashion about 20 years ago. Really, in a way, only Domingo could do those parts when people like Mario del Monaco stopped, or Franco Corelli. So there is this gap to be filled, and here, thank heavens, he is.
I don't think that Otello is dramatic. I don't think that Otello is heroic. I think that Otello is pathetic. And you think that Otello apparently was a black man in a world of white people who was a mercenary. All the power of this man was only based in his capacity of winning against the danger of the Turkish. Without that danger, he was useless. And there's nothing more dangerous in a society than when you get useless. Otello have the typical syndrome of the veteran of Vietnam or the Gulf War or whatever, when they go to bed in the night and they close their eyes and try to sleep, and they see fire, they see dead bodies everywhere. I mean, this is the typical syndrome of the warrior. And in that duet, one of the most important things of that duet is that we see, for the first time after the exultate, the weak part of the character. He is like a puppy.
La gloria e il paradiso e gli astri a benedire. E Dio fra le tue tempie oscure, splendor del cielo l'etereo vede. E tu m'amavi per le mie sventure, ed io t'amavo per la tua pietà. Io t'amavo per le tue sventure, e tu m'amavi per la mia pietà. E tu m'amavi
We have one of those productions when there's nothing on stage, just stairs. and all of a sudden you are portraying a love duet when you are talking about erotism, about sex, about the feeling of feeling yourself safe when you are in the arms of your lover. And there's not a room, there's not a bed, there's not a curtain, there's not a chair, there's nothing where to create that atmosphere. Two teenagers, if they're in love and they want to make love and they do it the first place they find. So we're trying to do something on the stairs. I don't know how that would look.
La gioia m'inonda si fieramente. Canzone si scivola. Mi giace. Un bacio.
La prova, non volevamo fermare la prova, ma nel momento, come lei mi ha detto, non mi posso muovere, continua a scivolare, ho detto ascolta, andiamo fino in fondo, poi vediamo. Adesso cerchiamo una soluzione. Il problema è che si scivola e
Mettiamo la gomma
si arrevada.
mettiamo la gomma sul vestito. Poi col vestito lucido.
Al finale butti il braccio di là.
C'ho il culo per aria.
E va bene, sai, bisogna saper far tutto, anche il colpo per aria.
No, ma dico, non si vede bene neanche che io sto...
No, non si vede. Senti una cosa, teniamo il bacio per il finale.
Ma questo di un bacio non la bacio.
Il bacio si dice tante cose, ma non si sa di fare.
Ma sto dicendo un altro bacio. Vuol dire che gliel'ho dato già uno.
Beh, ma
Ancora il finale.
Un bacio, dammi sto bacio, posso dire.
capito, glielo dai sulla guancia, glielo dai...
Sì, sulla guancia, sull'orecchio,
E l'orecchio, sì.
capelli.
Le baci del
Sì,
petto.
qua, un bacio.
Ecco, così.
Un bacio.
Ecco.
Un altro bacio.
Ancora.
I mean, maybe we have to change everything. I don't know, this week will be a long week. Today the general rehearsal is closed due to the union problems, and there's a sort of fantasy around the theater that the general rehearsal is closed because I've asked it to close the general rehearsal, which is ridiculous. So if you want to know exactly how I feel, it's a mixture of happiness, but the enormous pressure, which is not only the artistical pressure, which is everywhere the same, but now I have the psychological pressure of being used, if you want, as a sort of icon for reivindication, which is not my role at all. Again, we've lost a lot of time because of some strikes that we were having here and there. So we are trying to recover the time, and everybody's putting his best. That is also the miracle of theater. When people say that Domingo del Monaco, they've done more than 300 performances of Otello, of course you have to admire the resistance of the voice because it's enormous, but what I really admire is the patience for the makeup. I mean, this is hell. 300 times the same stuff, this is hell. And to get out from here, you need a shower. Hi, that's cold. Ah!
La gioia m'inonda si fieramente, non so mi piace.
Because in the first act, everything is okay. I love you, you love me, birds and butterflies and all, it's okay. Second act, he starts to be poisoned by Jago. But he's never alone with Desdemona. There's somebody else all the time there. The third act, finally he's alone with her, having her under suspicion.
Sopra il candido ciglio della tua fronte scritto. Non sei forse una vil cortigiana?
Sì, no, è il battesimo della fede cristiana. Non son ciò che esprime quella parola orrenda.
And he has this enormous fight inside of him because he loves her enormously, so he doesn't know what to do. And he insults her, saying that you are a hooker. And then she leaves, and she stays alone, and he sings the famous monologue, crying all the time, breaking into pieces, because he couldn't control anymore the emotions. And that is the beginning of the end. From there on, Otello is just up to the end, a sort of enormous descent.
Pianto tuo, ma ne rapito il minaggio, ov'io giulivo l'anima quato. Sento quel sole, quel sorriso, quell'ombro che mi fa vivo, che mi fa lieto. Sento quel sole, quel sorriso, quel raggio che mi fa vivo, che mi fa lieto. Clemenza, mio genio immortale, tal ermoso riso, dopo il tuo viso santo, color dell'erba infernal. Oh, dannazione! Io confessi il delitto, e possa muoia! Confession, confession, la prova! Oh, solo la cielo! Oh,
You know, when you do opera, the edge between good theater and being ridiculous is very thin. And that famous edge is the most challenging danger of the way I want to address my career.
La spada così! Cuidate, Ricky, cuidate. Cuidate. Niune mi tema, dove va il carajo? Fermatomi.
Cosa vuoi?
Devo dare la spada a qualcuno, la spada a me.
Mettila via per terra.
Ecco la fine del mio cammino.
My Otello is still in the make. One thing I can say is that the way I am reading Otello now, the way I am trying to develop Otello now, is not Otello the warrior, but Otello the man who used to be a warrior. Otello the man that was a warrior. Otello fu, says himself in the end of the opera.
Otello.
Otello peut-être fou.
He's young. He's only just starting Banzeg. People think he's mad to be singing Otello when he's in his 30s. Maybe he is, but what's it going to be like in 20 years' time? I think it'll be a complete knockout.
I hate so much that word that is very common in the show business, star. You're a star. I hate that word because stars are normally really far away from the earth. And if you just stay, and most here in Argentina where the sky is so clean, if you just watch the sky, you will see a lot of falling stars. And I don't want to be one of those. I prefer to be here on the earth, do my job as good as I can, with my mistakes and with my good things whenever I do good things, and that's it. I used to say, thanks God, the success came when I was young enough to still justify the investment, but old enough to be able to keep it under control.